Hello, it's Brian from Optimized Marketing, and we are going to talk about the lead generation system that Sabri Suby put together and outlines and sell like crazy. So, first off, this is a book. Many books you skim through. This is one that I've read through basically word for word. Beyond that, I have highlighted, notated it, and added a lot of information to it. So, I think it's actually a great resource, and let's get into exactly why. One, it's actually based on first principles, right? So a lot of marketing books are based on, hey, this is what you do in Facebook, this is what you do in Google Ads, this is what you do in this new fangled area. His is not. His is actually based on, hey, what's the core of marketing that's worked for millennia and will continue to because it's based on human psychology. And then how does that scale and how does that work within the digital age? So he's at the first principles level, which is awesome. Ultimately, as AI gets more popular, as um, machine learning gets more powerful, as these things learn to do more for us, marketing is going to come down to relationships, strategy, and copywriting. And his book addresses strategy and copywriting, I think, at a very uh, good level. So here's the mindset. I like this of how he's approaching it and something for keep in mind as well. Let's see if we can move that over there. All right. You should only have a marketing budget if your marketing isn't working. I love that saying. Every time we ask about a budget or people try and say what should my budget be, I like to say, why would you limit it? If it's working, why would you keep spending money? That's essentially what he's saying. Um, Another piece there: if you can't pay money to acquire a new customer, you don't have a business. Yeah, obviously, if you don't have any profit to go buy a new customer and you can't figure out what they're worth to you, then what do you have? Maybe you have a job. So I like that focus. And overall, though, almost everything from So Like Crazy is not new. I think the only thing so far that I've come across that's brand new I've never encountered before is the AnswerThePublic.com, which we'll talk about shortly. Everything else is based on Claude Hopkins and David Ogilvy and all of the gurus that we've read about and followed. And most of what you're going to see here, if you follow marketing at all, you've encountered before. What makes his approach unique and what I like it is he takes all of these first principles, all these marketing ideas, and he puts them into a formula and a system. And that's how you get results is by using a system. So let's keep going through that. Step number one in this system is called the Halo strategy. It's about knowing your dream buyer, determining who they are, because everything you do from there is affected by that, right? So your strategy, your value proposition, your pricing, your tone, where you advertise, I mean, everything is based around who am I actually talking to. So one of the ways to start getting at this is doing an 80-20 analysis of your current clients, who are the most profitable, who would you like more of, what do they look like, and we'll go through sort of other questions that you would ask to figure out, okay, how do I find more of those people? So we're not going to go through these in detail. I have a separate document that goes through these actually in more detail than this that helps you through the Halo strategy, but we'll kind of do the high level. One, find one or two search terms people use to search for your services or products or whatever. So you start there. Okay, what are they using? Take those and look on Quora and Reddit and LinkedIn forums and other forums, YouTube comment sections and so on, and just get an idea of how people are talking about this particular thing, who your target customer, what their issues are with that. And so you ask yourself these few questions: what are they happy with? What are they unhappy with? Pay close attention to the wording they use. Right? Every industry has its own sort of vernacular. So getting an understanding of how you can speak in the language and the vernacular and the wording that they're using already makes a big difference, right? Look at really the issues that keep coming up and up. Okay, organize those findings, those comments, those concerns according to what comes up most often, and then also notate then what feeling, right? Is this a fear? Is this some sort of a joy, a happiness, an excitement, a curiosity? Like what's going on there? Now that you have this research about okay, what's actually the problems for people, find the gaps. Now, I had a different version of doing this when we started Optimized Marketing. I sent out a survey to the target group and asked them a bunch of questions and used those questions to essentially answer these questions, right? So I used my survey to kind of create this Halo strategy, to create this idea of where the problems were, what was concerning people with relation to their marketing and their sales, and then crafted a solution based on those responses. So, basically just what it's saying in step 5 there. And then if you want to get a better idea of like when they're researching to solve this problem, right? So if they're looking for a digital marketing company, or they're looking for an SEO company, or a Google Ads company, or a social media, whatever it is, go and look to the auto suggest results to get an idea of what in volume people are usually using to research and figure that out. And then look at answerthepublic.com, that same search term. It gives you that diagram that shows you how people are asking around the different versions of this question. This helps you with your research to kind of get an idea of, okay, what's their real concerns. Still covering over some words. There we go. So then you have the 9 questions to define your dream buyer. So we'll continue to go through the process. This is still part of the Halo strategy, but you should, when you get this research done, be able to answer these 9 questions. Where do they hang out and congregate? Where do they get their information, right? Are they getting their news from Facebook? Are they getting it from CNN? Are they getting it from a newspaper? Those types of things. Where are they just getting details? Is it from a podcast? Is it from books? What are your biggest frustrations, or their biggest frustrations and challenges? If you can speak to those as if you really understand them, and you do sales long enough and you kind of present like, I can think of working with prospects and saying, so look, this is how the average agency works. And I'll set out the scenario of, there's lack of transparency and they use terms you don't understand, and they don't do anything for months. And all of a sudden you say, hey, my sales are down or my leads are down, and then all of a sudden they rush to get things done. And I just laid out this scenario, and the client or the prospect came back and said, have you been listening to our phone calls? Right? It really resonates when you can figure that out. What are their hopes, dreams, and desires? And you got to kind of get deep with these things. It's beyond the making money. It's like, what do you want to do with that money, right? What is really the motivation behind that? Because money is just a means to an end. What are the biggest fears? Whether that's public embarrassment or bankruptcy, or what's really just keeping them up at night. How do they communicate? It's simple enough: email, text, phone, etc. What exact language? We already talked about that. What's a day in their life look like? This is real important. If you know their deep work time is early in the morning, then they check their emails after that. At the end of the day, they're kind of just messing around, not really paying attention. They're worn out. So the timing of how you communicate, when you communicate with them, can definitely play into that. And of course, what makes them happy. So having a good, clear understanding of that. Okay, next stage. So we started with our Halo strategy, defining the dream buyer. Now that we have that buyer, we have to offer them something. So this is not offering them to purchase our service. This is an offer that says, hey, I'm kind of interested in what you have. And they call us the Godfather offer, which I particularly appreciate. Make them an offer they can't refuse. And so this is not to sell, if we're doing digital marketing services. This is to give them enough information to say, hey, I'll give you my contact information. That's it. That's all you're trying to do. Obviously, it's got to be related to digital marketing services, and we'll talk about that. And it's getting an understanding of what is the dream come true experience that your market wants, right? And so we'll address that. Okay, so how do you build the high-value content offer? You create an attention-grabbing headline. Make sure every point touches on a burning issue. So when you have that offer and you say, hey, the 6 things that no agency will ever tell you that's costing you tens of thousands of dollars every year, okay, each of your points is your 6 points and needs to address that, right, on that burning issue. Keep it simple. It needs to be super clear. So what I just said, okay, I get it, right? There's 6 things that I need to know that are costing me money. Simple. Because, my agency is not telling me this. Nice. Test offers to find out what works best. Right? So you come up with a few of them and you test them out, see what the result is. Okay, so let's look at the first one, right? Those killer headlines. Well, how do we make those headlines? So you need it that grabs them and practically force them to read your material. So again, going back to first principles, Ogilvy points this out. When you've written your headline, you spent 80 cents out of your dollar, right? The headline is 80% of the value of your offer. It's got to grab them. Use numbers in your headline. So there's a couple examples. 7 things you must know before hiring a financial planner. Obviously, you can kind of tune up the emotion in that. So that's, you must know, so you don't end up homeless in retirement, right? And have a nice picture of a homeless guy. Like, there's different ways to tone that up a little bit. 12 things no wedding photographer would tell you, that brides who hate their wedding photographs wish they knew beforehand, right? So what could be worse than that, hating your wedding photos, right? And then the 22 money murdering mistakes. So that one's actually using some graphic imaging there, the money and the alliteration of money murdering mistakes. No web designer would dare tell you. 3, create irresistible intrigue. That's a great example. Live to 100, so who doesn't want that, right? We found the secret formula in a remote village, right? So there's this secret out there, and I just, man, I wonder if I'm already doing this. I'm probably not. What is it? Like, that intrigue says, okay, I'm just going to click through and read this. Clickbaity, right? That's the idea. And then finally show them what's in it for them. So there's got to be a benefit to them. So that one came straight out at the beginning. Live to 100. There's the benefit. Okay, so I'm going to spend a little bit of time on these headlines because I think this is so important. It's important on the landing page, it's important in the Facebook ads, it's important in the Google ads, it's important in the guarantee, it's important in your emails. I mean, the headlines really are so crucial. So we're going to have a separate breakout of all these, but just want to touch on a few of them, these different formulas. The first one, 6 ways to get washboard ads without doing a single setup, right? Payoff number 2, your mortgage in 7 years, even if you have a modest income. And so it has the sort of plug and play aspects to those. Paint masterpieces like Picasso without ever having a single lesson. And that one's like, that doesn't seem right to me. How can you do anything without a single lesson? But that kind of dials up the intrigue. Maybe it even goes too far and like, I'm not going to click on that. That's clearly not even possible. But number 4, how to eliminate the biggest problem, how to eliminate wasted ad spend without doing whatever they hate, chasing down your agency every day, all within 90 days, whatever. We have several resources that dig in this, with more formulas. I think 51 of them was recently shared. Some more examples. Do not buy a new house before reading the shocking report. I think part of this, the headlines, is reading and rereading and watching and seeing those, looking at the National Enquirer type stuff. The most popular magazines, the AARP is actually the most popular magazine, I believe, in the world. What are they doing? How are they doing in reverse engineering that, using that as formulas? So continuing to throw these out, to say these out loud, to read them, to type and write them, even as they currently are, and to figure out how can we tweak these to our current market. I like this last one, the second one a lot. What you don't know about building a new house that could cost you tens of thousands of dollars and threaten the financial livelihood of your family. All right, so that's really kind of dialing up. Whoa, you're going to threaten the financial livelihood of my family, not even just me? Like, whew. 11 things, so dialing the numbers, no home builder would dare tell you before taking a deposit. Number 5 could cost you hundreds of thousands. Maybe hundreds is too big. Maybe it should be tens of thousands. 6, fatal, like the language, traps of buying a new home exposed. The dirty little lies no real estate agent, builder, or even a buyer's advocate would dare tell you, right? Putting that intrigue, these are the things that would show up like in a National Enquirer magazine to really get your attention. Okay, so Halo strategy, we just went through the UVCO, right? The offer. Now that offer got them to a strategy session. They got them to a call, a CRO walkthrough, something like that. And now we're ready to sign them up, to become a customer. Part of that's going to be throwing in that guarantee or unique value proposition. Point number 1, if you don't have a guarantee, essentially all of the risk of changing, of dealing with somebody new, of getting a new strategy, all of it is transferred to the customer instead of put on us. So your guarantee should take the risk off of them. And of course, it should exceed their expectations, be memorable, and even wow them. Right? They should kind of be asking, like, how in the world are they able to offer that? The corollary to this is the Mech Labs, Flint McLaughlin version of a UVP. I think they're very well tied together. It's not in Suby's book, but same concept, unique value proposition answers. If I'm your ideal client, right, you already figured out from your dream buyer profile, why should I do business with you rather than my competitors? Well, because you're guaranteeing me a certain result that my competitors are not. Okay, how do you come up with this? I'll go through these quickly. Again, I have a separate document to really study this and ask questions, study the competition, just search on Google, hey, digital marketing agency guarantees, that sort of thing. Laser on your strengths. So understand what our strengths are. So there's a few ways to do this. Like we can list out, we have our pricing strategy, all of the features that we offer to people, and then correspond that with benefits. And one feature might have 10 benefits. So just really get those out there and understand what they are. Be specific. This is the vaunted attack at the satisfaction guarantee, right? 100% satisfaction guarantee or your money back. That is powerless because it doesn't tell me what I'm getting, right? And so the only people that are ever going to take advantage of a satisfaction guarantee are ones that just aren't going to be happy anyway. Whereas if you tell them specifically, hey, this is what we're going to do for you, guaranteed, that has some real teeth to it. Choose a payback, so okay. Or, hey, if this isn't met, if this condition isn't met, we'll give you your money back, we'll work for free, we won't charge you, whatever. Test, measure, and refine. That's obvious, right? So just keep trying new things, tweak it, improve it. There you go. Put it front and center, so you got to put that in various aspects of your marketing, your landing page, on your website, and your email marketing, etc. And potentially give it a name, right? So if you can give it your own unique name, that certainly gives you some credibility and memorability. It's easier to remember a short name, like the network effect value builder that you guys recently come up with for our franchise networks, versus not just saying, hey, it's our guarantee. Okay, 17-part secret selling system. This is essentially now worth the landing page, right? So we're taking it step by step. The person, the offer. Okay, now we got to put together this offer within a landing page. And then notice how we're going sort of backwards from the person and who we want to sell to, who we want to take care of, to, okay, how do we actually get to them? So now we're from the offer to, okay, how do they learn about the offer on the landing page? There's all the options. I'm not going to go through all of them. And essentially, that's what the landing page should have on it. Some of these are going to be familiar, right? Like shine a floodlight on the problem. That's like Perry Marshall's agitate stage, whenever you're writing up copy. Provide the solution. So that's in there. The credentials, some of the stuff is somewhat obvious. The social proof, the Cialdini persuasion stuff. All that's there. Again, I just like how he's using the basic marketing principle. He's not really creating anything new here. Okay, so now you got the page. Now we need traffic. How do we get traffic? Number one, I think this is really key to understand, again, the basic principle. What's the goal of an ad? To get a click, right? That's why they call it clickbait to begin with. That's the goal, to just get that click. You're not selling the service. You're not selling the product. You're selling the click to get that intrigue. And that's how you do it. Shock people, give them a direct benefit, an implied benefit. Build up on their fears or their vanities, and of course, tie in some self-interest there. Let's look at some examples of that. So these are Google ads. These are examples. These are not actual ads, I don't believe. But one thing that I like about this is creating a system where you can say, hey, what's the ad type? And you use that ad type. If they can, you can too. So this is a more basic version of like Perry Marshall's Swiss Army knife, right? So might be a little easier because it's a lot simpler. But if you sit down and say, hey, I want to write up 5 irresistible intrigue offers about this topic, it's actually a lot easier to do than just say, I'm going to write 5 new ads. Right? Okay, I'm going to write 3 irresistible intrigues and 2 mythbusters. I'm going to write a few freebies. And so if you're constantly working on new ad content and you're pulling out, okay, I'm going to work on this type, it allows you to focus your energy and your deep work time and your creative time on that a whole lot better. So that's what I like about this sort of idea of the Google Ads. Of course, do the competitive research and see what other people are saying. Make sure whatever you're putting out there is completely different. Here's some more. Warning. I actually kind of like that. That can be used in a variety of different ways. Insider SEO secrets. Caught your wife cheating. I suggest you read. So that's a quote, right? So using some sort of quote, implied testimonial, that sort of thing. Banned technique, right? What do you mean it's banned? I need to see this. Okay, so now let's switch gears to Facebook. So Google search obviously is where people are actively searching for a solution to their problem. They know they have a problem, they want a solution for it. Facebook's a little bit different. They may be aware of their problem, they're just not actively looking for it. And so There's a lot more people that they have a problem, but you know, I got problems. Everybody's got problems, right? um, so, yeah, there's a bunch of problems that are sort of in the background of our lives that we're not really searching for. Facebook is your best way to get in front of them. But to be relevant on Facebook, you have to look at what kind of content gets shared on Facebook. And so here's an analysis from BuzzSumo. So you can use the BuzzSumo tool to go in and look and see what's most popular. This is 2017. I doubt it's going to be much different. The top two are music videos as far as Facebook interactions. Then it's a news article, right? Next is a quiz, and I'm going to read that quiz. Only 1 in 50 people can identify these 16 grammar mistakes. Yeah, and if we could make a quiz related to services that we were providing and doing, imagine how that could take off and help. So, but the rest of these here is news article, news article, news article, research. Study finds that second-born children are more likely to be criminals. Interesting. I'm third, but maybe some other people on our team are second born. Anyway, catches people's attention, that kind of stuff, right? So the idea then is, okay, if people are reading news and articles, you need to make an ad that looks like an article, right? That looks like not an ad, but something that's going to give them this great information. Remember those headlines we were talking about earlier? Remember the offers? Okay, so here's an example. And think about this for a second. This is a Pilates studio that is, if you read through that there, if you take the time, is selling courses to train you how to become a Pilates instructor. And so think about, okay, who is your ideal client? What are they looking for? What do they need? If you went through and did the Halo strategy, you went through and did an offer, is it going to look anything like this? This is clearly an advertisement, and is it even a bit unclear what they're selling? It says Pilates mat. Are you selling the mats? Right? Like, I don't get that. Okay, so let's consider how we would, and if you want to pause this video, come with your own ideas of how you would tweak this, because I'm going to show you, an updated suggestion. All right, so same company, same goal. Now it says, find out how everyday Aussies are breaking the shackles of their 9-to-5 desk jobs and trading their corporate attire for comfy activewear and earning a lucrative paycheck, right? And then the headline, thousands of everyday Australians are quitting their 9-to-5s and becoming highly paid Pilates instructors. Man, that is a lot better than the last one. And so this is the idea with Facebook, where we can create ads that are feel like articles, news, warnings, latest information, did you know, that sort of thing. Then send them to the landing page, the 17-step selling system. That offer backs up the thing we put in the ads, right? Now we're creating a nice system to bring in traffic. And I think it's important to take a step back and consider paid traffic, if you have multiple sources, is the most powerful thing you can do on a strategy perspective for lead gen. Why? Because paid traffic is essentially unlimited, right? You can find more people in more ways. If after Facebook, you can go to LinkedIn, you can go to Twitter, you can go to Pinterest and other social networks, right? But if you figure out a way to take paid traffic and convert it profitably into customers, all you have to do is dial up the traffic. That's it. You don't have to worry about creating new content. You don't have to worry about, you essentially just keep throwing money at it. And so that's why this is so important to go back all the way to the traffic level. Here's another example. So this is a company that's essentially looking for property investors, but they don't talk about, hey, like, we have a good track record. Hey, we have a good ROI, or here's our return on assets for the last 6 years, or whatever. They're talking about talking to people that are wanting to be property investors, and very measurable. How to secure your first profitable investment property in just 60 days. They got a time component there. Also, they do have some social proof, 500 plus Aussie international investors, free reports, 6 simple steps using numbers, like all of those things that help dial this up and get people intrigued. Okay, here's our summary. Halo strategy. Number 1, make sure you understand the 9 questions that define your dream buyer. 2, what's the offer? Make the offer that they can't refuse. 3, the guarantee, unique value proposition. 4, put that together in the 70-part selling system on the landing page. 5, use a traffic generation system that focuses on all of the things that you've built on and learned earlier in the funnel. So, hope this was helpful. Looking forward to your feedback. Thanks.